I didn't watch it last night. I missed old Bunchy. Bunchy!
We told Monty at the party.
Alright, morning everyone. Let's get going here. U.S. markets actually crept up from kind of being flatline on futures all day before the session started. Managed to have a decent little day of gains. We gained almost 0.5% on the S&P. You can see there every sector was up across the board except for materials. Really light trading, obviously, on the back of the FOMC meeting that's coming today. I think that the market is starting to position itself for maybe a smaller tapering than originally had planned, with a lot of the economists starting to back off of the size of what they're expecting for the taper. So, the S&P did close only a couple points below its all-time highs, which we'll show in just a little bit. So it's really hanging in there quite well, kind of building up to the announcement, which I think is quite market positive. We had a bit of a mixed session in Asia overnight. Japan was closed yesterday, so obviously we saw it playing a little bit of catch up there with some of the other indexes down. We've had gold that fell to its lowest level in 6 weeks. Obviously, going into potential tapering, and then we also saw Chinese home sales numbers, home prices. That were the highest in I think since 2011. Yeah, January 2011. So they rose, I believe, in 69 cities across the country. So that's those good data pieces out of China continue to keep on coming as of recently. All right, very little corporate action out today. We do have Rimgrow that's coming out with full year results today. They didn't list a time for this to be released, but if you look at last year's release, it happened just after the close. So I would expect the same thing to happen today. We're expecting headline earnings per share to be 11 Rand 30, revenue of 16.23 billion, and divvy per share to be at 216. So keep your eye out for that in case it does come out before 5. We've got local CPI here at 10 o'clock. We've got the BOE MPC meeting minutes at 10:30. We've got mortgage apps in the States. I say retail sales at 1. Housing starts, building permits, and then obviously the biggie, which is going to be the FOMC speaking, delivering their rate decision, which is not the big deal. It's all eyes going to be focused on tapering and the forward guidance of that. So I really think that today is just going to be another shockingly light day of volume. Probably very little action ahead of the Fed speak at 8 o'clock, so just play it accordingly and try to keep it light until that actually comes out. All right, let's jump into the maps. All right, first thing I want to have a look at here is the S&P, which we just were mentioning a second ago, and you can see we're really just a chip shot away from taking out all-time highs. And I think what's really important about this is the build-up going into this into the FOMC announcement tonight has been just nerveless and a consistent build up toward all-time highs. You can see there over the last, call it 8 sessions, we've got one down session. We've really just been grinding back up to those levels, and the fact that we're doing that in front of this announcement kind of gives you the feeling that we can really punch through as soon as this is out of the way. So the way that the market's trading and lead up to this could be a little bit of a head fake, but it just feels doesn't feel scared. So I think the market's very clear on its expectations, and if those are met, I think within 2 days we'll instantly know whether or not we're going to punch through this or not, and then that'll kind of give us the next maybe next week or two of moves on global markets. So just keep this in mind. The rest of the play out for the rest of the week is absolutely huge for the next for the rest of this month and the beginning of the month of October. All right, let's jump back into Sunlum. We talked about Sunlum yesterday and pushing up against trend line. You can see yesterday it actually closed above trend line resistance. It's quite significant because we have a bunch of touches on this line, probably 5 touches, 6 touches on this line. Day before yesterday, we tried to get above, couldn't close above, and yesterday we closed up at 48. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Sanlam come back up and test previous highs on this breakout. Sassel, I'm just going to pull this a little bit forward here in Sassel. This is slightly rough, but you can see here, we talked about this level at 478. And how important it is. Every day it's kind of been building in importance because you can see how many touches it continues to have on the bottom side here. The bounces are starting to get a little bit less and less, but we're looking like we're setting up a little bit of a potential head and shoulder pattern here. It's a kind of a mini head and shoulder pattern, so this is it's not exactly the most alarming setup because it's not very the height isn't very high. But when we look at this from 478 to call it 493, we're talking about $15 of potential downside, which would really put us down to around 463, down to around these levels, which is very close to where we broke out from. So if we get a correction down to 460, 463, probably a great place to nibble in Sassel, but 478 is really the line. We need to get a close below that for us to be able to potentially get down there. All right, let's look at breweries quickly. Sorry, I'll back this out a little bit more. I'll just show breweries, and you can get an idea. Sorry about that. Yesterday we came down and we tested, we came up and tested trendline resistance. We've seen kind of previously the trend line that was what was broken was here. Which we broke out from. We actually came back, tested, and now we've pushed higher. So now we're pushing above what would be the essentially a new trend line. And I think that yesterday, obviously, with this touch and fall off of that level, kind of giving some sort of validity to this trend line here. So I think we can start to watch this new trend line resistance here a little bit more closely, and if we can get above it, obviously would set us up for a little bit of a breakout. All right, Woolies. I just want to show here. We you kind of get the feeling Woolies is in a bit of no man's land after having run up so hard, so fast off of the lows around 58. But really, 72 is a monster level going back, almost a year now. I remember talking about this for ages back at the beginning of the year, and breakout of 72 is going to be huge. Breakout of 72 is going to be huge. We got the break above, but it's interesting that we've traded around it now. You can also see, if as we move a little bit closer, you can see here how we have had now 3 touches on the line. Yesterday kind of came down, tested 72, couldn't get lower, and really pushed up off of it. Now looks like we're making a little bit of a flag here, potentially to break higher. From Woolies, and we could probably trade up to around 78 quite quickly if we continue to move higher here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us make another breakout to the upside here. But if you get a chance around 72, remember that is quite a significant level in Woolies. And I think you can play around on an intraday basis as well. All right, let's zoom forward a little bit here on Trueworths, and I'll just show you, we just broke above this level here. Let me just pull this up a touch, but at 91 and Trueworths, you can see we got to close at 92.16. Sorry, call it 91.50, which we had already broken out of this little mini inverse head and shoulder pattern here, which we broke out of, and I think we've reached most targets, but we continue to move higher. We've gotten above 91.5. I think we can go higher. We'll probably be looking for some sort of consolidation at some point before we can really make another push. But bottom line, it's really starting to look like the right play here in Trueworth. So I think pullbacks are to be bought now. And 91.50 is definitely a little bit of a line there. All right, and the last one I'm going to show is AML out of LSE, and just show how we've broken out of this downtrend that's been intact here for the better part of 3 or 4 months. We got above 4 pounds the day before yesterday, and then yesterday we kind of just put a little bit of consolidation slightly above this trend line. We're right here at about the 200-day moving average, and I think if we can move above that, I wouldn't be surprised to see us come back up and test recent highs. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.